The Creative Inkster. Today is Tuesday, May 17th, 2022, and it's Technique Tuesday. I hope the lighting's going to work okay here for this tonight. It's a beautiful sunny day out, cold but sunny, and the sun is streaming in the one window. So I am kind of hoping that this lighting's going to work out okay. We don't have too many shadows. All right, this card is made using a wreath drawing technique. I'm going to show you with one of our distinctive stamps, and I think you could probably use another type of stamp image. This is from Eden's Garden. It's one of our current stamps, and it's what we call distinctive because built into the stamp is some shading that helps with how the ink goes on and gives it a very textured look. So that's how I've made these two cards here. So let me show you how I did that. If you're watching live, please let me know you're here. I'd love to converse with you. And if you're watching on the replay, do leave me a message and I will respond. All right, so what do we need? What we need to make this card is our standard card base. This is Pale Papaya, 8.5 by 11 and 8.5 by 5.5. Scored at 4 1/4 and folded in the middle. Pretty nice. And then one of our new in colors called Starry Sky. There's the ink pad that goes with it. And this is the beautiful color. Isn't that a great combination together? It's a royal blue, not even a navy blue, but a beautiful, bright, bold royal called Starry Sky. We're also going to need a piece of white to stick on top that I've cut down just ever so slightly from there. So this one here is actually 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and then my white is 4 by 5 1/4. Alrighty, so let's get started. One thing we're also going to need to help is we need to find the center of this piece of white. And the best way that I found to do that was to cut a piece that is also that size and fold it at the top and the bottom to find that center point. And then I just cut one of those little rectangles out. And that's going to show me exactly where the center point is on the card. I also need a circle. This was done with my layering circles, but any kind of 1 3/4 inch or up to 2 inch circle with a punch, or that would work just great. You'll see we're going to end up putting it over top and we're going to stamp around, but it does leave this white edge, so you don't want your circle to be too big. This is approximately 1 3/4. So once again, in order to find the center, hi Brenda, how's that lighting? Is that okay? I've just been playing around with it a little bit here on account of the sun streaming in. Oops. Now, see if that's going to help with adding some more light there. So we're going to take our 1 3/4 inch diameter circle and fold it in half. This is going to help us find the center point. Okay, and then we're going to open it up and we're going to fold it in half the other way. Pretty simple. I made both of those cards with the same circle, which I think I've thrown out since. But basically, this you can use the circle over and over again. So, just like that. And we're going to find that center point. How we got this little rectangle was cutting a piece that's also 4 by 5 1/4, scoring it evenly in the center both ways, and then cutting a segment off. And this helps us find the center point. So I'm just laying it over top so I know my center point is here. I'm going to take that circle and I'm going to put it in the center point. I'm lining the lines up there to find that center point. Are you with me? All right. Now we also need to put some adhesive down and we want to hold it in place. But we don't want anything that's going to be permanent. So I have my Stampin' Seal. And I'm going to just put a little bit on there. This is just to hold it in place, but I'm going to use my hand to de-stickify it a little bit because I don't want it to be too stuck in place. I want to be able to lift it off after. All right, so lining this up in the top left corner will help me find the center on there, and then finding the circle center is following those lines and lining them up with this little rectangle. Now I don't need the rectangle anymore. We're going to use the pale papaya with the stamp. Again, this is from Eden's Garden. It's mostly a circular image. That's not 100% required, okay? You're looking for something that is somewhat circular. I'm going to ink it up. And what I found is if I go, I'm going to put my paper this way, and I sort of start towards the top left corner, or top right corner, I guess left corner for me, like that, going right over the circle. Then I'm going to go directly above me, and then once again pointing that way to the right, kind of like on a compass, points on a compass, if you will. And then you're going to feed the rest of it in based on where there's some empty spaces. So I can see here that in order to make this wreath up here, I need a little bit of the pattern up here. It's not a perfect system, and you can just keep adding layers to it to give you more shape and more look. The thing about it being one of our distinctive stamps is when you're stamping with it, it gives different levels of color based on where it goes down. Hi, Debbie. And so I'm going to tuck that aside, close up my ink pad so I don't have a problem. We don't want that. And basically it's put that wreath look around my card, just like on these other two cards that I did. This one here, my stamping went on lovely in the center for my sending hugs. That worked perfectly. This one, unfortunately, my happy birthday went on crooked, so what I did instead was cut out a die that's a circle and put my happy birthday on it, layered it, and put it over top to hide that, because once I'd done all that lovely stamping, I didn't want to toss it out. So that is one way you can fix it if you have an issue. So then we're going to carefully remove this circle, and I'm just twisting it to get it off. Remove any extra adhesive that might still be on there. We don't sell this tool anymore, but you can get it at Dollar Tree, and it's an adhesive remover. If you bought it from Stampin' Up 10 years ago, you probably still have it because it really lasts. And it just is a little rubbery thing, and it removes your extra adhesive. Now we're ready to go ahead and put our greeting on there. And I'm using either Peaceful Moments. I need some more birthday cards. Although Sending Hugs fits really nicely. I think I'm going to go with that one. So from Eden's Garden, Sending Hugs fits in that circle quite nicely. And Sending Hugs can be lots of things. It can be for a birthday. It can be for thinking of you or thank you. It can be lots of different reasons. So I'm going to grab my block. And this is where I want it to land. I'm going to use the Starry Sky. Beautiful color, nice deep dark color. I'm going to grab my scratch paper and do a little test run to make sure that I'm lining it up well. So what I do is I find the lines on the scratch paper and I line up the words, and I can see that I need to adjust a little bit when I'm putting it down the next time. There we go. All right. I have a pretty good idea how to eyeball this one into place. And if I muck it up, there's no problem because I have die cut out some circles. Just trying to see where they are. Oh, they're hiding under here. And I can always put it over top, which I think I'm going to redo. I'm going to have a do-over. Put my Sending Hugs on there. Oh, that's a little bit better. Okay. Onto my circle, and then I can put it on here. And nobody except you guys who are watching will know that I did that, right? How easy. Okay, so I will add some dimensionals, I think, actually, to this. I didn't do that on my other ones, but make them all a little bit different for fun. One. These are some small little pieces I have left on this sheet. It's now done. Don't give any of them, don't toss any of them out. Use up your dimensionals. Okay. Get the backings off here. I'm a little conscious of tossing them on the floor because my son did a wonderful job of vacuuming there last night, or the other night, so I want to honor that. Okay, my sending hugs goes right here in the center. And I'm going to add a little bit ribbon on the bottom. So the open weave, 3/8 inch open weave, is beautiful. This is our pale papaya. I really enjoy how this makes a beautiful bow. And then you can pull down on the two different sides to kind of get it exactly landing the way that you'd like. Update on Riley. Riley's doing really well. He's been on his 2 medications now for 3 weeks maybe, and he is coming around. He's a little bit more like himself, not as much, certainly no seizures, and he's back to playing and being his bubbly usual self, lots of barking, that we're very happy. And I really appreciate everyone's good wishes and comments to help us along there. There we go. All right, that's on. Now we're going to layer it onto a thin layer over top. So my white is 4 by 5 1/4, and my Starry Sky is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. It just gives a nice little border, but with a really dark color like that, totally pops. Let's see. I don't think I have much left in that Stampin' Seal, but I've got liquid glue, so we'll get this going. Oh, might have been sitting too long. So if your glue gets like that, you can take a toothpick or a needle, actually, is the best thing, because you can get down into this hole and toss it out if it gets mucky on the end. Don't have to worry about cleaning it. This right side up. Thank you so much, Debbie. Yeah, he is. He seems more like himself, and I love seeing him bounce around and throw his toy up in the air, because for a long time, several months, that really wasn't him, and we were worried about him. All right, and then I'm sticking this directly on here, so no dimensionals on these layers. I could have cut something out of that too, or punched something out of the center, because it's just going to go down over a card. No one's going to see it. That's a great way to use your cardstock to its fullest, is to punch something out, as long as you get in to the center of the paper beyond the border. When it's a dark color on a white, it might show, but on a colored cardstock, or the darker the color, you're not even going to notice it. Now we need to jazz it up a little bit. I haven't used these in a while, these iridescent rhinestones, and I absolutely love them. Oh, so there's some still on a little sheet left over from a class. So let's use those guys up. They really take on the color of whatever you're working with. And I hadn't intended to do them around, like in 5 or so around the outside, but that's kind of what's happened with this pattern and my wreath. So they come in 3 different sizes. Largest, which are not usually my favorite, the medium and the small. And the ones I've been using here are the medium. So I must use up those large ones on a specific project to use them up. I think this is a great embellishment for this color with pale papaya. Righty-o, there we go. That's our card done. What do you think? I love it. Thank you so much. I'm going to try this one out with perhaps another stamp. I was looking for a different one that might be more circular. So I'll have to take a look through my stash and see what I have. But this is one that I knew this would look really lovely with. And I think this is going to be one of my upcoming swap cards that I'm going to be making this weekend. So thanks for watching. And I will post these still pictures of the cards. You have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you soon. Bye.